Hi there, it's Dave Lyons from Doodle here, and thank you very much for clicking through to this first in a series of 3 videos that I've put together that talk you through a process that we have developed that has absolutely transformed our business. It's a process that we apply to every single piece of marketing that we do. It's the first thing we do whenever we approach a new marketing either for ourselves or for our clients, and it's all based around emotion. Now, it doesn't matter whether you are a specialist in SEO, in pay-per-click advertising, in landing page development, in web design, web copy, email marketing, blogging, social media posting, really any single piece of marketing that you do, whether online or offline, these principles and this process applies, because ultimately all marketing is about content. It doesn't matter all the tools and tricks that you might buy, all the ways of getting traffic and automation and software and keyword research and everything else that you do. Ultimately, the content, whether it's a simple 3-line advert for a pay-per-click ad, or whether it's a 10-minute video on your homepage or your full sales page copy, no matter what it is, you have to produce content, and that content needs to be engaging and compelling and move people to take action. Now, it has been scientifically proven over many years of psychological research and also experience in television advertising and general marketing analysis that emotion is the one thing that influences consumer behavior the most. People will not buy unless an emotional change has happened. They've moved from one emotional state to another. So the trick is to try and identify in people's emotions of where they're feeling right now to grab their attention, and then move them through your marketing message through to their solution and how they will feel at the end of that. But how do you drill down into the emotions that people are feeling? Because that's the hard part, is trying to understand for any niche or any product is what are the different emotional states that people are in. A lot of people talk about avatars and trying to focus their marketing on a particular avatar, so a demographic, so it might be aiming at 25 to 35-year-old women in a particular location. But the reality is actually you want to identify people in a particular emotional state, because if you can identify that and get inside their head, then that's where you will start to get your message heard and start to take people on the journey. So I have several articles that I'm going to be posting into our Facebook group that talk through, so you can see the scientific fact behind all of this. But for the purposes of keeping today's video short, we're going to take it as a given that emotion is the single most important thing in influencing consumer behavior and getting people and consumers to take action. So let's look at our process in a little bit more detail. Okay, here we are back at my desk, and I'm going to talk you through the Doodle Ads Emotional Selling Proposition, the ESP. This is a simple 15-minute process that will make creating your marketing content quicker, easier, and dramatically more effective. First, I just want to give you a quote by Perry Marshall, who's an AdWords guru. I'm sure you've heard of him. And he says the purpose of our marketing is to get under your audience's skin, to crawl inside their brains, haunt their imaginations, and endear them to you. Now that's an emotion-packed statement there, the words, the specific language that he's used. But that is really what we're trying to do here. It's a method of getting under your audience's skin and crawl inside their brains. That's the whole point of this emotional process. So what I want you to do is to stop thinking about funky looking, technically brilliant videos where you've got lots of things happening and lots of things involved, because that's really not the point. That's all about detail and features and benefits. And I want you to stop focusing on features and benefits. Of course they are useful and they should be used alongside emotion, because you can overdo the emotion and it needs to be worked in with the logical aspects of the sale process as well. But stop focusing on those and really focus on the emotion. Start thinking about the simple emotions and the primary human directives that we have, which is the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain, because that's what everything really boils down to, everything that we do. So going straight into a quick example of teeth whitening. A typical advert, a typical video thing that you might see in teeth whitening is, do you want shiny white teeth? We use the latest technology to give you that bright smile you've always wanted. Now, You might think that "do you want shiny white teeth" is a great opening question, because if people do, they're going to answer yes and move on to the next phase. But it's a cold open. You haven't actually triggered anything inside people's brains. You haven't really connected with them yet. So it's like, yeah, I want shiny white teeth. I've thought about it, but it's not a massive thing on my mind right now, because a lot of the marketing you're doing is interrupting people. So how can we take that on a stage? And it's by thinking about the why. Now, a good tip for this is to imagine interviewing a happy customer and work backwards and keep asking them why, because you will get to an emotion, because we know that every transaction every action is based around an emotion. So an example might be, why do you use ABC Dentist for teeth whitening? And the answer is because they know what they're doing. Okay, well, why is that important to you? Well, it's because I want my whitened teeth to look natural. And why is it important that they look natural? It's because I don't want to draw attention to my teeth. And why is drawing attention a problem to you? Well, I get embarrassed when people stare at my teeth. And all of a sudden there, you've got that embarrassment, and that's the key emotion. People that have a problem with their teeth are embarrassed, and if you can awaken that emotion in their brain, then all of a sudden you've triggered that emotional state in them that will make people want to move forward, engage, and take action. So we go back to our example and say, our question might be, do you feel embarrassed by your discolored teeth? Does it make you want to hide your smile and make it difficult meeting and talking to people? And now, with that phrasing and that language that's focusing on the emotion of embarrassment, we've managed to get inside the viewer's head. We've ignited those strong feelings, the strong emotional feelings, and they're the feelings that motivate us to take action. Take a moment to think about that, and think, if somebody triggers a powerful emotion in you, whether it's embarrassment, whether it's pride, whether it's envy, whether it's greed, it's those things that fire you up and make you want to do something. So now we've got the viewer's attention, we simply move them through empathy to the solution and, of course, the call to action. So that's an example of the kind of thing I mean when we're talking about the emotional selling proposition and trying to draw things back and track things back to a key emotion in the prospect's mind. So the ESP document is typically 4 to 5 pages long. It covers a niche and a transaction category. A transaction category is just a crackpot word, really, phrase, but it means that in real estate there's selling houses, there's buying houses, there's renting, there's letting, there's a range of different things that are different transactions that carry different emotions. So we have to separate them out. So there's a sub level under real estate that is your project, if you like, and with dentists it's teeth whitening, it could be bleeding gums, it could be regular checkups, and so on and so forth. So you isolate your niche and your transaction category or your project, and then that's when we start the emotional selling proposition. Now, we've created dozens of these over a wide range of niches using the process that I'm just going to talk you through now. Here's an example you can see on screen, just briefly going through. This is an ESP document we've done for dentists, teeth whitening, and it just shows you the extent of what comes out at the end of this process. So after we've done the ESPs, the next stage, tier 4, is then to use that to write scripts. And it also becomes a swipe file that you can use for your ads, your pay-per-click ads, your landing pages, your blogs, your social media posts, and so on. Because you can use those ESPs, those emotional elements, and put them into all kinds of different content. So we start with the Doodle ads emotion set. Now, there are a number of different emotional categories and so on, and the psychologists will tell you that there are only 4, some say 6 basic emotions. But what we've done at Doodle Ads over the last few years is kind of created a list that we think are most appropriate to marketing, and cover the majority of the core emotions that you're going to come across. And they are greed, fear, envy, pride, shame, enjoyment, surprise, sadness, disgust, anger, love, altruism, apathy, hope, aspiration, comfort, self-esteem, and recognition. There's some duplication there's some overlap and so on, but that doesn't hurt because it just makes you think of things in a different way. This list is available in the Facebook group as well, so don't feel that you have to scribble this down. But this is where it all starts. And we take that emotion set, and we take your niche and your transaction category, and you spend a maximum of 1 minute on each of those emotions and say, does this emotion appear in this transaction category? So if we go back to teeth whitening, you're thinking about somebody who might be considering teeth whitening and the reasons that they might be looking at teeth whitening, and we start with the first emotion, which is greed. Is there anything to do with greed in teeth whitening? If you think about it, probably not. It's not an aspirational thing in terms of acquisition of something. It's not, I've got to have this. Greed isn't really an emotion that I would apply to teeth whitening. So we scratch that one, say, no, there's nothing in there. Move on to the next one, which is fear. Okay, now we've got onto something. So in fear, something that somebody thinking about teeth whitening might be considering is, well, is it safe? I've heard a lot of things about it. You know, they use bleach. Is it really safe? Does it hurt? Are there side effects? Envy. Yes, envy applies because there's a desire to be like others with bright, beautiful smiles, people with confidence. And there are feelings of envy when you see these people confidently displaying their teeth and talking confidently, and you can't. So there is envy there. Pride. Yes, that's another side of it. So think about the confidence that somebody might have if they could correct their smile. Shame. That is where the embarrassment comes in, embarrassed by discoloured teeth. They feel dirty, they lack confidence, and yet again, we've seen there's a bit of overlap, a bit of duplication, but that's fine. And just spend 1 minute on each of those 18 there are, so it takes 18 minutes, not 15, I beg your pardon, but some of them, of course, you're going to get through quicker than 1 minute. And you go through the list and just spend 1 minute, which is plenty of time, just thinking, does this basic emotion apply to this marketplace and this transaction category? It really is as simple as that, and you'll be surprised at what you can come up with. And the more you do this, the better you will become at knowing the different emotions and thinking, because there are words that come out, you know. So shame also covers embarrassment and dignity and things like that. So you start to get used to thinking in these terms, and it becomes quicker and faster and more expansive. And at the end of the 15 minutes, you have your list of ESPs. Is it safe? Does it hurt? Are there side effects? Desire to be like others, and so on and so forth. And you take that list of emotional selling propositions, and there you have it. You've got the core emotional triggers that relate to your industry and that particular transaction within that industry. And we can then start to use this to expand this out. I really can't impress upon you enough how powerful this process can be, because you've now tapped into that psychological triggers that make people engage, that make people sit up and take notice, and it makes people take action. And this should form the basis of every piece of marketing that you do, because those keywords that we do, and we're going to go through in the next session and expand upon those words and the different language that applies to those different emotions and how you can shape that into scripts. But it does apply to your landing pages, your ads, and so on and so forth. It's a very straightforward process, but all built around those core emotions. And in the next video, we're going to walk you through some of our ESP documents that we've already done in different niches, and we're going to walk you through them step by step in detail and show you how you can use them to create scripts, to create other marketing content, and then we're going to show you how to match them to images, which are a massive emotional trigger. The combination of those words and the right simple images that are focusing on that emotion is where we can be really, really powerful, particularly with video. And we're going to show you how to put those together to create videos. That's video 2. And in video 3, we're then going to show you how those videos work across different channels, across YouTube, across Facebook, and so on, where you've got different attention spans. It's a different marketing style, and how you can adapt things accordingly. So thank you very much. Please take 15 minutes now if you can, because we all know things go on the list and don't get done, and just give it a go. Just apply this list below to your niche and see what you come up with in preparation for the next video when we can expand things out a little bit more. So, and feel free, of course, to post your ideas to the Facebook group for feedback.